All right, this is what probably most everybody's familiar with. You see it in your garage repair shops, welding shops, construction sites. It's your basic oxygen and acetylene setup. Acetylene is the fuel now here instead of gasoline on our Petrogen, and oxygen still our oxidizer agent over here. The big thing about these, acetylene is what we worry about. All right, acetylene is a very unstable gas. It's actually dissolved in acetone. Acetone is a neutralizer for the acetylene. If acetylene was kept in this bottle by itself, it would start react with each other, with itself. The molecules start going crazy, and it's going to start to react in the bottle, and it won't be able to be contained. So it's actually dissolved in acetone. Acetone keeps it in check. With that being said, acetylene bottles always need to be kept upright. All right, you cannot take an acetylene bottle and lay it over on its side. You can't put it on its side for transportation in a truck. Don't carry it in your rig like that. It's always got to be chained up in the upright position. For the reason, if it lays down, if the acetone starts to leak anywhere around this valve, you start leaking your acetone out, the acetylene is going to become unstable, and you're going to have a little bit of a bomb on your hands. Now there's fuse plugs in the top. You see these here. The pressure builds up in the tank, or if there's too much heat, these fuse plugs will blow out. It won't explode, but it's going to off gas, and it's going to be a bad deal. When you set this torch setup up, your acetylene regulator has male threads coming out on left-handed threads, all right? So you can't put them in the oxygen bottle. On the regulator itself, it's got red markings. Same thing, this is how much acetylene you got in the tank. This is your regulated pressure. If you can see at 15 pounds, there's a big red line. What do you think that red line means? It means bad. We never ever put acetylene over 15 pounds. For 90% of the cutting you're ever gonna do with an acetylene torch, all you need is 5 PSI. Regulated 5 pounds of pressure. So that's what we have our regulator set at, 5 pounds. On our oxygen regulator, same regulators we had on our Petrogen setup. You have right-hand threads with a female fitting. This is the pressure that's in your tank. This is the regulated pressure. For all the cutting we're gonna do in USAR type work, we're working anywhere from 1/4 inch steel to 2 or 3 inches. We're gonna run this at 65 pounds. That's gonna give you that big range to where you can cut everything you want. Same deal with the hoses. Excuse me. Green is oxygen, right-hand threads. Red is fuel, left-hand threads. Over here on the torch itself, this is what you call a combination torch. And why it is called that is this whole cutting head can be spun off and welding tips can be put on. If you're going to do brazing, silver soldering, whatever, just some preheating work. There's 3 valves on this torch. Red right here, that's your gas valve, that's your acetylene valve. Green is your oxygen valve. This is your main oxygen control valve right here. When you start to set these torches up, come up and turn this valve all the way on. And you never have to touch it again until you put your torch set away. All right, turn this all the way on. This is the only valve we're going to be working with. This is your oxygen mixing valve. That's how we're going to dial in our flame. When we go to start a Petrogen or a oxy-acetylene torch, you start with the gas, you crack your acetylene, and you light your torch. Now the flame we're looking for here, you want that orange part to be about 1/4 inch away from the cutting tip. So about right there, we're going to dial it up to here. And now we're going to bring our oxygen in very, very slowly. Crack it in. Same thing, you're looking for that good neutral flame. All right. If you have too much acetylene, it's going to look like that. All right. See that orange plume coming out? If you put too much oxygen, it's going to flash out on you. It's going to snap, and you're going to have no flame at all. So you're looking for this good neutral flame coming out of your tip. Now, when you start your cut with an oxygen acetylene torch, you do not touch the tips of the workpiece. You hold it about 1/4 inch away, and you preheat your metal. About a 45-degree leading angle in. As soon as it starts to bubble, become molten, then you introduce your blow-by gas. All right? If you watch that puddle, it'll start to puddle up. And as soon as it starts to puddle up, you introduce your gas, your oxygen. The cutting speed is going to be a lot slower with this torch here. We're cutting a 1/2 inch plate. This tip is fairly small, and it's kind of dirty and not real good. We were about out of tips. The last couple groups really got on our tips. They kept putting the tip down in the slag. If you would take this tip and dip it down into the slag, it's going to fill up all the orifices, and you're not going to have a very good tip. So you can see how slow I've got to cut with this here. You can still cut quite effectively. It's just a lot slower. I've got the 45-degree leading angle. My torque speed's good. Still a nice clean cut. All right. Shutdown procedures for this is opposite of the petrogen. You take your oxygen off first, then your fuel.